KwaZulu-Natal has seen quite a number of mass shootings in recent times. Just last week, 8 people were killed in the Glebelands Hostel in Umlazi. High-profile murders have also taken place within the province, including that of rapper eNCA. Well, the killers are yet to be caught, and our reporter, senior reporter Dasen Thathiah, is following up with police on the progress of some of these investigations. He joins us live now for an update on this matter. Dasen, a very warm good morning to you, colleague. Let's start here. What happened to Phumelele Ndlovu and that case?
I think I'll start at the outset by just saying that I have approached the SAPS in KwaZulu-Natal and I'm expecting to speak to them later today, so we will be able to get something of a comprehensive update from their side regarding those cases that we're talking about, especially the ones where there haven't been any arrests. But to come back to your question, I am in Tongaat, and this is where Phumelele Ndlovu was killed a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, in fact, on this road that's behind me. And it really grabbed the attention of many people around here. It left a sense of fear in this community because of how brutal that killing was. Her vehicle was traveling down the road that you see here. Her attacker was walking across the island that's just to the left of the road. And in the CCTV footage that we've seen, we saw that he walked up to the car and he literally pointed the gun at her, fired several shots. Her car crashed into one of the barriers on the side and he just ran away. And that was the last that he was, or the last that anyone had seen of him. And I think it really just brings home the point of how brutal some of these killings are and how it really leaves families so distraught because they then have no clue of why this happened or who the person is or if justice will ever be served. But in this particular matter, there is a lot of speculation around the motive. So yes, she was a Home Affairs employee. Initially, people were speculating about whether that could be behind her murder. Police haven't officially given us a motive yet. But what's interesting to note about this case is that she was due to testify in court in a case involving 2 police officers. And that was on a corruption matter. And in fact, those 2 police officers were dismissed through an internal process. And that criminal case was coming up in about the next week or so. So whether that's linked or not, we can't say for sure yet. But certainly it does add a very concerning element to the story and how she was executed here in broad daylight in front of everyone on this busy street. I tried to engage with the SAPS on this matter, just on this specific case. And this is what Colonel Robert Nechunda had to say to me when I asked him about whether there was a link with that case she's involved in and her death.
We have not uncovered if the hit has got anything to do with having a witness in any of the cases that we are investigating at the police. But if she was a witness and there was a threat to her life, as the police we have programs that we put witnesses on. If it is communicated that the person is investigating, is witnessing on a matter and is a threat to their lives. But for now, we have not been able to link the crime scene to whatever that she was doing, because we know when a crime has happened, there will be a lot of speculations. We also had some people speculating that because she works at the department, she could be involved in corrupt activities herself. But as the police, we need to find the motive ourselves, satisfy ourselves that this is the right lead we are following.
Well, of course, we're hearing there from the law enforcement official, Dasen, indeed saying that they haven't been able to link yet, this murder with what happened with the officers that were charged and arrested. But also, I mean, when it comes to arrest specifically, we know that they're a sticking point, rather. Could this be because people are growing more and more reluctant to come forward with information in most cases?
Well, that's just it. There seems to be a breakdown in trust in some cases. You know, we can't really just speak generally because there are specific cases where communities and other informants have come forward and helped. But I guess the broad sense that we get when we engage with people in certain communities is that there's a lack of trust. They may not necessarily share the information they have. We find that ourselves when we try to get interviews. And besides the lack of trust, it's also fear, because people think that if they were to speak out on these cases, that they would be, in some cases, harmed or killed. If you look at this particular case with Ndlovu, the matter that we were talking about, those that are close to her say that she was receiving threats. And that really makes one question whether they are safe if they have information that could implicate others. The National Prosecuting Authority has said to us that yes, people are safe because there is a witness protection program that exists. But here's the caveat. It's voluntary. So no one can force you to get into that program, into that witness protection program. And you have to come forward and say that I think that my life is in danger. So let's listen now to what Natasha Kara had to say. She's with the NPA on this particular matter.
The National Prosecuting Authority does offer the option of witness protection to witnesses who may be fearful for their lives. When a person does find themselves in this situation, they should advise both the prosecutor as well as the investigating officer. Thereafter, the process would unfold. However, one must bear in mind that witness protection is entirely voluntary. A person cannot be forced or coerced into participating in the witness protection program.
Perhaps if I can just bring it a bit closer to home, colleague, because we are indeed focusing on personal security in the country. For yourself, I mean, how have you been, I suppose, maneuvering with a sense of personality? You're a journalist, a senior journalist at that, oftentimes, privy to very sensitive information, reporting it publicly right here on eNCA. We've seen with our other media colleagues around the world when it comes to intimidation because of this information sharing, but also just a personal sense of security. How would you say you fare out in KwaZulu-Natal?
Well, it's very interesting if you're talking about KwaZulu-Natal in general, because journalism aside and our careers aside, if you look at the current climate right now, I think there are very few people that can say genuinely that they feel safe. Yes, we know that many of the killings that we see are targeted killings where they are going for a certain individual for a particular reason or motive. But what is of particular concern recently is that it's happening in such public spaces, as I pointed out with this road here. So it's easy for anyone to get caught in the crossfire. So that now makes us really grow eyes at the back of your head and watch and look at everything that happens around you. So you live in a constant state of paranoia. So when you add journalism to that and the type of work that we do, it really means that you have to always be aware of your surroundings. You need situational awareness. I'm not saying that KwaZulu-Natal is a war zone. I don't mean to create panic, but the reality on the ground is that there have been many of these types of shootings that have taken place in public spaces. And the question now is what police are going to be doing to ensure that citizens are safe. It will be one of the questions that we will be asking them when we engage with the SAPS later today.
Absolutely. It'll also be one of our focus points right here in studio as we continue to engage for the rest of the day. But Dasen Thathiah, thank you so much, colleague, for this update. This regarding, of course, the murder of Phumelele Ndlovu, meant to give more evidence and testify against some police officers and officials who were implicated in corruption out in KwaZulu-Natal. She did not live to see that day. Law enforcement, however, saying they haven't found a link yet at all between, of course, the two cases, her murder as well as these pending cases. But we'll continue to delve deeper and deeper into personal security, perhaps even, questioning your sense of personal security where you are. And it'll be good for you to engage with us on our social media space.